Time to review another wholesome anime. Oh, what's this? Domestic girlfriend. Seems innocent enough. I mean, dogs are domesticated, right? And they're pretty fucking adorable. What could go wrong? Oh wow, this is a nice song. What the fuck is this? This is just the first fucking episode. What are you doing? Stop! She's your sister. She's also your sister. You're gay? And your teacher is gay too? Everyone just fucking stop. Why am I still watching this? They're not really related by blood, so I guess it's okay. What's up, Doritos? Today we're gonna talk about the girl you had sex with and the teacher you have a crush on are gonna be your fucking sisters? Holy fuck. Today we're gonna be talking about an anime that is still relevant to this day because of some minorly inappropriate reasons. Domestic hentai, domestic incest, how to end up in jail, domestic girlfriend. So grab that milk that's been stuck in the back of your fridge for a couple weeks now, cause this is about to get spicy. Let's talk about the characters. First up, we got our main guy, Natsuo. He's just your average high schooler. He's an aspiring novelist. He has a bit of a crush on his teacher, and he's the luckiest man alive. And he has a habit of getting into certain situations which may or may not be considered lucky depending on how you look at it. I'm pretty sure if the world would end today, he would be the only one to come out of it alive. And he'd still find a way to sleep with his sisters. Other than that, there's nothing really much to say about him. Other than the fact that he loses his virginity to a girl he just met, which later turns out to become his stepsister, and that teacher he's always had a crush on turns out to be her older sister, so now she becomes his stepsister too. Then we got Momo. She's just your average teenage high schooler who may or may not have any mommy or daddy issues. I mean, who doesn't, right? Right? It's fucking normal, right? Dad, if you're out there, I just want to let you know that milk you've been trying to get is probably expired now, but I'll still drink it, so please hurry up and come home already. I'm still waiting for you. Then we got Ashihara. She's shy and timid, and she's part of the school's literature. And she's part of the school's literature. And she's part of the school's literature. And she's part of the school's literature club. Seems pretty wholesome, right? I mean, how could anyone even think about sexualizing a club that's all about books and writing, right? Right? God fucking damn it! Then you got Rui. She's a short blue-haired girl. Short blue-haired girls for the fucking win! She's just your normal, typical high school girl. She's cute. Oh, I love that so much. She's so fucking cute. She makes that face whenever she gets jealous or a little angry, which happens a lot, and I fucking love it. Hey, Rui, I'm gonna go out with my friends tonight. Never mind, they're all dead to me. Hey, Rui, I'm gonna go to work now. Work is for peasants. I don't need money. You are all I need, my goddess. Hey, Rui, I'm gonna visit my parents for a bit. I haven't seen them in years. I have brought you their heads and offered you their blood as an offering. They will never take me away from my devotion to you, my beautiful goddess. She's straightforward, she's not afraid to speak her mind, and she doesn't really have the best people skills, which make her even more adorable than she already is. And that's basically it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that she invited a random stranger she just met over to her house just so she could ask him to have sex with him, all because her sister basically told her that she's a stupid kid and she wouldn't understand how it feels to be held by someone if she hasn't experienced it herself. Moving on. Wait a minute! What the fuck kind of reason is that? What the f- You asked someone just because your sister- what the fuck? I should add that to my Tinder profile. Then we got Hina. She's just your regular, wholesome high school teacher. She's pretty, she may or may not have an alcohol problem, and she likes to teach. Cause you know, she's a teacher. She's a fucking teacher! Make sure you fucking remember that when you're watching this degenerate incest-filled prison bait you call a show. And that pretty much sums it up for Hina. Oh, and she has a boyfriend who turns out to have a wife. And we find out that her boyfriend was actually her teacher back in high school, where they may or may not had an inappropriate underage teacher-student relationship. And she also kind of likes the student, who ends up being her stepbrother. And she gets caught masturbating. Let's talk about the story. We're gonna talk about the story now. keep talking about this story. It starts off with our main guy getting invited to a group mixer with a bunch of girls by his friends at school. That's where he ends up meeting Rui. They both happen to step out of the room, and Rui asks him if he wants to go somewhere else. They leave, and Rui asks Natsuo for a favor. Let's see if you can guess what favor she asked. Is it A, I want you to pretend to be my boyfriend? B, I want you to be my first boyfriend? Or C, will you be my first kiss? If you chose any of those, I'm sorry man, but you have to get yourself tested because you may be fucking retarded. What she actually asks him is if they could have sex. Yeah. At this point, this is just a straight up softcore hentai. I feel kind of strange. I'm putting it in. God damn, this is just the first fucking episode. After they're done doing the nasty, they agree to forget about it and keep it a secret. But he tells his friend anyway. The next day at school, Natsuo is hanging out on the rooftop where he coincidentally bumps into his teacher that he's always had a crush on, Hina. They talk for a little bit and reminisce about the time when they first met. The next day, Natsuo goes to the rooftop again and discovers Hina crying. He asks her what the problem is and she tells him that it's just about a sad TV drama. And Natsuo is like, bullshit! He tells her that he's worried about her and asks her what's bothering her. Then Hina hits him with their signature line, "You're just a fucking kid, you don't know jack shit." After that, Natsuo goes home and his dad tells him that he's planning on getting remarried and his future wife's family is actually on their way to meet them right now. They open the door and yeah, he sees Rui and Hina and their mom standing in front of them. And now they're gonna be one big wholesome family. Oh, and they're gonna live together now. God damn! The plot is basically just foreplay to a premium Pornhub video. Not that I own a premium account or anything. You got moments that'll make you cringe in your seat and ask you why you're still watching this? Like when Hina falls asleep on the couch after drinking too much and Natsuo attempts to kiss her, but then Rui shows up and sees what he's doing. Or when Natsuo confronts Hina about her affair, then Hina slaps the fuck out of him and they start making out? What the fuck? She pulls him to her bed just to stare into his eyes and remind him that he's just a fucking kid. Or when Rui has a fever and Natsuo takes care of her by rubbing her back, where he constantly needs to remind himself that he's her younger sister now to get rid of all those unholy thoughts that keep popping up in his head. Other than that, it was actually a pretty wholesome moment, now that I think about it. Up until he tries to put a suppository in her. What the fuck, man? Are you fucking kidding me? A fucking suppository? For a fucking favor? Gotta add that to my Tinder bio too. Like, holy shit, you couldn't do anything else? Like maybe, I don't know, whip her up some lemon tea or some shit? Or peel her some fruits so she can eat it? Or like, what the fuck? What's next? You're gonna rub vapor rub all over her fucking pussy? Or put your dick in a fucking freezer and stick it in her pussy to make her fever go down? What the, it's so fucking... And the thing that irritates me most is that they're all aware that they shouldn't be doing this. There's a lot of times where they remind each other that they're family now, but they still end up doing the most unfamily things. You even have a scene where they visit Natsuo's mom's grave and they tell her that, "Oh, excuse me, we're Natsuo's new family now. Please watch over us." And immediately in the next couple episodes, they're back at it again. What the fuck, man? I hope they have bleach in heavens. God damn, Natsuo's mom is gonna need a lot. And then you got Momo, who immediately wants to hook up with Natsuo after only talking to him for a little bit. They go to Momo's place, they start to undress, and Natsuo sees that Momo has cuts on her wrist. Momo hasn't had the best life. Her parents are going through a rough patch and have been so caught up in their work that they can't even bother to have dinner with her, which causes her to become lonely and to long for attention from someone or anyone, including men that are clearly taking advantage of her. There's also a lot of rumors about her being a slut and doing orgies with multiple men, which just causes her to isolate herself even more, which is just sad. At first I thought she was just another girl they're adding to their main character's harem of non-blood related females, but it turns out there's actually a reason on why she is what she is. I never would have thought that a character from a degenerate show like this would ever make me sympathize with her so much. Not gonna lie, I didn't have the best school life either. I was made fun of a lot for something I couldn't control. I grew up somewhere in Southeast Asia where, if you didn't know, people there saw being dark-skinned as an ugly characteristic and associated it with you being poor or in some cases a bad person. There's one time in first grade where I was already struggling to make friends because the kids in my class kept picking on me. They called me names like Negro or Bajau. Bajau is basically a native group in my country which is commonly associated with being dark, poor, and uncivilized. So I ended up just doing things to grab people's attention by being as annoying as I can be. And one day our seats got still remember this day. Our seats got rearranged and I ended up on a fucked up table with drawings and pencil marks in them. And the paint was faded too from kids trying to scrape it off. My teacher at that time, this fucking bitch named Jane, caught me sitting there, immediately called me out, blaming me, and called my grandparents to school. No questions asked. As I watched my grandfather slowly repair that piece of shit table, I thought to myself that maybe this is what people like me deserve. Maybe this is just my place or role in society, and the sooner that I accept it, the sooner I can stop hating myself. After being constantly reminded that almost every day, that's what I ended up doing because they already saw me as that type of person already. So why don't I just do it? I ended up getting myself suspended every chance that I could by doing dumb shit. For the most part of my early life, I genuinely believed that this is what I'm supposed to be, that I should be what people around me think of me, and that everything bad and that has and will happen to me is what my role in life deserves. I tried so hard to accept it, and I couldn't. I wanted to kill myself. As a middle school student that was already having suicidal thoughts, I thought I wouldn't live past high school. But as I continued to live on day by day, I met a couple people that would end up changing my life for the better. Most notably, one of my middle school teachers. Let's call her Mrs. Helen. She was my English teacher. She was the only one who was willing to talk to me and eat with me during lunch. I could tell that she didn't listen to all the rumors that some teachers were saying about me. She made me stay back after school with the star students so she can teach us some more advanced stuff. And it ended up paying off. That year, I had a couple hundreds in my exams, and it made me grow an interest in learning English and being proficient with it. Although I kept receding into those negative thoughts up until high school, she was honestly one of the reasons that I could get through those hard times. I'm really grateful that she came into my life and had such a big impact on it and potentially even saving it. So wherever you are, Mrs. Helen, I just want to say thank you, like a lot. And that bitch teacher named Jane I mentioned, I heard that she was fired after a couple years after trying to force a kid to eat a piece of paper. Fuck you, bitch. Sorry for getting a little personal there. Let's get back to the video. And although this anime is filled with scenes like these, it actually made me realize something. We all have something we desperately want. Maybe you want to get into that school you've always wanted to go to, or a career you've always wanted to have, or even a person you've always wanted to be with. But sometimes, just because we want something, doesn't mean we can get it. That's just reality. We can only control so much of our lives, but the rest is just up to fate and circumstance. I'm not saying we should give up on our dreams. What I am saying is that we should learn to accept the fact that disappointment and failure is a part of life. As sad or scary as it might seem, that's just reality. And I honestly think that all these failures will end up making us a better version of ourselves in the future if we take it in a positive way. The sooner we accept this fact, the sooner we can move on with our lives and discover what we actually wanted and deserved all along. The school you wanted to go to probably didn't have a teacher or professor that would end up changing your life for the better. Thank you, Mrs. Helen. That career you thought you've always wanted might have stopped you from getting into the career you love now. And that person you thought you've always wanted to be with might have stopped you from meeting your significant other now. So while we all have things that we really want, when we come to a point where those things clearly aren't meant for us, instead of us wallowing and feeling bad for ourselves, we should pick ourselves up and do our best to learn from all those failures and put all of our energy into something else worth our while instead and move on. Especially if you're desperately trying to sleep with your teacher / non-related blood stepsister. That's just fucking wrong, man. Unless you live in Alabama. Sweet home Alabama. Holy shit, man. This show is definitely something. To this day, I still don't know if I really enjoyed it. There's so many times where I just wanted to shut off my computer and stay away from the show, but for some reason, it just kept pulling me back until it was too late. I don't even like reading, but I ended up reading a couple chapters from the manga just because of how hooked I was. It's like a car crash or an accident, and no matter how gruesome or horrible it is, you just can't look away. That's one of the things I actually applaud the author for. She knew how to captivate the audience into wanting to watch how the story develops and what the hell happens next. And yes, if you're thinking, oh, what kind of disgusting man with a disgusting and twisted fantasy would come up with this? This story was written by a woman. Equality, ladies and gents. The genders come in all genders. I hope you know that. All the lewd scenes and the nasty plot aside, I would say it's a damn good drama. It's about whether or not our characters make up their fucking minds, and it all just makes us scream in our heads, get it over with already! Or just fucking stop this shit, depending on where your moral compass is. And that's the end of my review of Domestic Girlfriend. Oh, and that opening, man, is so damn good. I've only had a couple shows where I didn't skip the opening, and this is one of them. All in all, it's an interesting watch that will leave you either with lifelong trauma, an idea for the next video you should choke your chicken to on one of those unholy, God forbidden sites, or maybe even wanting to turn to God or Buddha or a talking space dolphin that controls the universe because, you know, you like this shit. But to each their own. Destiny,
to go to me, and I'm on the man, and I'm the girl that they want to. I said you put your body, I said I got it, yeah.